Monsieur le Président Emmanuel Macron, je suis l'épouse de Narek Samsonyan, prisonnier politique arménien. C'est la seconde fois que le régime de Pachinian envoie mon mari en prison pour ses discours d'opposition et ses critiques, lesquels ne contenaient pourtant aucune insulte, et ce, bien que l'insulte grave ait été dépénalisée en République d'Arménie il y a des années sous la pression de l'Occident. Allow me now to continue in the language in which I can express myself freely. My husband is the co-author and co-host of the famous political podcast Imnemnimi, which is broadcast on YouTube and has a growing audience. Now a criminal case has been initiated against him under the article of hooliganism. This is because during an episode of the podcast, my husband addressed the public insults made by members of the government and civil contract MPs against him and his co-host Vazgen Sagatelyan. Specifically, while directing his response to the Speaker of the National Assembly, Alen Simonyan, he used the word buttocks. According to Armenian law enforcement, the word buttocks uttered by my husband live on air in response to a filthy Facebook post containing profanity by the Speaker of National Assembly of the Republic of Armenia contained the corpus delicti of hooliganism. The fact is that days before being imprisoned, my husband and Vazgen hosted the third president of the Republic of Armenia, Serge Sargsyan, on their Imnemnimi podcast and held a frank and free 7-hour conversation with the president. By dawn, after the broadcast concluded, Nikol Pashinyan had made several agitated Facebook posts, joined by his teammates who wrote numerous insulting Facebook posts and comments using filthy vocabulary directed at the podcast host and the third president. It was precisely at that time that the Speaker of the National Assembly, in his regular Facebook post, called my husband and Vazgen sons of bitches. He received an incomparably mild response involving the use of the word buttocks during the subsequent broadcast. For this, he appealed to law enforcement to initiate a criminal case against my husband and Vazgen. The regime's law enforcement, without thinking about the law or legality, undertook the duty of fabricating a criminal case. The next day, masked officers of the National Security Service Alpha Squad entered our house, searched it in front of me and our young daughters, twisted my husband's arms using Pashinyan's favorite methods and detained him, even though he offered no resistance and was complying with all demands of the law enforcement officers. At the same hour, the same scenario was unfolding at Vazgen Sagatelyan's house, as well as at the office of the Anti-Fake AM media outlet. They groundlessly confiscated all equipment from the news outlet, all computers, all cameras, filming drones, microphones and recording devices, tripods, the office security camera DVR, batteries, memory cards, chargers, power banks, all necessary devices for live broadcasting and the equipment and cables ensuring broadcast sound and audio clarity. Depriving the news outlet of the equipment ensuring its operations had only one goal: to terminate the outlet's activity and to cause direct material damage. All that equipment has been acquired thanks to sympathizers, and fortunately, supporters appeared again who, with their own personal funds, provided the news outlet with the necessary equipment in a single day so that the outlet could continue its activity and the opposition voice could sound again. It's clearer than clear that this is a means to silence opposition speech in the Republic of Armenia and to intimidate other opposition members with this example. My husband and Vazgen have been illegally imprisoned since November 13 and are currently in the Armavir penitentiary. Their visits are banned as if they have killed someone or handed the homeland over to the enemy for personal gain. Following the work of media operating in France, seeing what uninhibited vocabulary is used in both political and entertainment programs, and seeing that profanity used in on-air speech, even directed at you, is not perceived as hooliganism and doesn't become a reason to send people to prison, I cannot understand how you shake Pashinyan's hand while seeing clearly how he subjected his opponents to political persecution using repressive methods and wipes his feet on true justice. International organizations have already recorded once that my husband and the co-host of the Imnemnimi podcast, Vazgen Sagatelyan, were subjected to imprisonment for criticizing the government and Nicole Pashinyan in their podcast. You can find this formulation in the 2024 reports of Freedom House and Amnesty International. The Freedom House report even published the link in the footage of my husband's being brutally detained. The European Federation of Journalists also condemned the abuse of criminal legislation by the Armenian authorities to suppress freedom of the press and speech. Local organizations have also condemned this modus operandi of the authorities and demanded the immediate release of Narek and Vazgen. The International Center for the Development of Parliamentarism also prepared a report on the Imnemnimi case. The Armenian Center for Political Rights compiled a comprehensive report on the previous and current criminal prosecutions of Narek and Vazgen. The criminal prosecutions initiated by the authorities against my husband and Vazgen are gross violations of human rights and the realization of free speech, and they are being persecuted illegally. Proving what has been said is the fact that the Court of General Jurisdiction of the first instance in the Republic of Armenia has already issued a verdict of acquittal once in a previous criminal case of identical content involving Imnemnimi. I am appealing to you and not to your country's ambassador, Olivier de Cotigny, because I am not confident that your ambassador is politically neutral. I am informing you so that you know whom you are protecting and what is happening in Armenia as a consequence of your protection. I appeal to you with the expectation that, if possible, you tell Pashinyan that this modus operandi of his has nothing to do with democracy and leads to totalitarianism. Do you think that for the sake of winning the struggle for hegemony between superpowers, it's worth closing your eyes to Pashinyan's totalitarian tendencies and not seeing that he is not a bearer of democratic values, but a classic dictator whom one is only allowed to praise, while those who dare to criticize must be sent to prisons? Unlike Gaddafi, Pashinyan hasn't killed demonstrators yet. Narek Samsonyan is a political prisoner in his own country who still romantically believes in true democracy and democratic values.